Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of FX Art Desk. This is Sal. Today I'm going to talk about tattoos. This is not just regular tattoos. I'm not talking about just regular tattoos. I'm talking about airbrushing tattoos. I've delved into a new direction, a new venture. I still want to do collectibles and models, and I know everything 3D and sculpture, but a friend of mine approached me, sent me a text, telling me about this guy who does airbrush tattoos, and he was thinking that he's probably gonna need some help, and I said that I don't know. I've used airbrush before. I don't have that much experience with it, and I don't have the. I just don't know if I would be able to do it. But I said I would try it, and it was okay. It's a slightly, I mean, this is slightly a bit different direction that I was gonna go into. I was able to do it fine, okay, but starting out, of course, there's going to be some issues. But I feel way like I had my first event that I went to. It was at a opening at a mall in my area, and my friend had his booth set up in this building, and people came in, and there was other vendors around, and we just had our airbrushes set up in our stations, and with the paints and everything, and there's a menu boards on what people can get airbrushed on their skin, and so being there, I felt I liked it, I enjoyed it, but it's like it's I feel like I'm way out of my element. I've even though it's art related, I still have that feeling. I enjoy it. It's good. But like it's not like the things that I've learned. Okay, so the things that I've learned. So I know how to paint, I know how to sculpt, with clay, all water-based clay, digital sculpting with Maya and ZBrush. I tried all those different types of methods. And when I got out of college, the first job that I had, my actual first job that I got into, was in the mailroom at the IRS. So it's not as bad as that. When I was at the IRS, sitting in a mailroom sorting out different forms and not knowing anything about this stuff, like I couldn't be the lowest possible. I couldn't be the farthest opposite side of the spectrum on where I wanted to go. It was so odd, so weird, surreal, that, and it was depressing, because all of that work, all of the time I practiced, all of the hours spent, sleepless nights, and and then I ended up there. Like, people, I'm not trying to, talk. I'm not trying to put down anybody who wants to get into that kind of field. It's just not me, and I'm sure a lot of other artists had struggled through the same thing. It's not easy to break in. Business is not easy to break in, so you have to do something that supplements your interests, your ventures, the real ventures that you want to get into. So, but I had to make money, and that was the only option that I had, and I was able to do it. Surprisingly, I've tried applying at other regular jobs. One job that I was able to get, it was at a call center, but it was even worse, because it was even worse because I actually failed really hard at it. Like, I had to actually know some things. I didn't. It wasn't as easy as the IRS. So, and it was the training. The training was insane. To me, it was. But airbrushing tattoos. That's what I've been up to lately. The kind of artist that I wanted to be is, of course, you looking at my videos, I want to be a 3D artist. That's what I want to do. I know some things. I'm not a stranger to color and to paint. I've done a lot of paintings. I've worked with oils, acrylics mostly, and then when I got into college, I've always been around Photoshop, but I never knew that much about it. I tried digital painting on my own, but I never seen any that, like, back then in the 1990s. I didn't know that there was much call for Photoshop as far as being an artist went, until later on. And then once I knew more about it, I mostly use Photoshop to, like, when I would look for reference materials, I could cut and paste and arrange different reference material organize it into one big page. So that's, and I didn't know that much about Photoshop, but I was able to learn it. I know a lot more thanks to YouTube and all the wonderful tutorials out there. I was able to learn how to do some decent looking digital paintings. But I know about color. I took color theory in college when I went to San Jose State, and I took figure painting. I took oil painting. I know my way around color, so drawing has if you have a good drawing background, that's also useful too. So I think I was able to do it, but I don't know that much about airbrush, and I kind of try to stay away from tools. From I'm not a big power tool type of. I don't know if you can consider compressor or airbrush tools as power tools, but I mean they're sensitive pieces of equipment that can, I think, if you don't know how to use a compressor, you can make bad things happen. I guess I don't know exactly for sure, but you talk about air pressure and um, if you don't maintain your air compressor, bad things will happen. Like if you don't drain the what do you call it? There's um, there's moisture that gets trapped inside of it. If you don't empty it out, it'll rust, I guess. And then if the rust weakens the thing, it'll probably explode. I can imagine. And also, the airbrush is a sensitive tool, so like there's this needle, I guess, especially that's inside of it, will if you don't take care of it, it'll bend easily, and if it's bent just a little fraction of a bit, it won't work anymore. Like it's done. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't um, you can't bend it back, as far as I can tell, as far as I was been told. So you know those things get dirty real easily. So you have to do a cleaning. You have to clean it up. So you have to take it apart, and that's a real sensitive operation. Um, so I try to in my videos you can see me using heated tools and stuff like that when working with wax. I was afraid to use those too. Those because I don't want to get burnt. I don't want anything to catch fire. You got to make sure you have a fire extinguisher with you when you're working with heated tools like the alcohol lamp and such. I was afraid. Oh, and also a skillet. I use a skillet to melt the wax, and then and so that I can work with it like clay or putty. Anyway, yeah, all these tools, it was intimidating for me, but I had to bite the bullet and then just jump right into it, because when I heard about the toy wax and what it can do, that it's industry standard, I was like, I gotta get my hands on this stuff. And it was exciting, because this is like I've worked with super sculpting. I worked with oil-based clay, and the most annoying part with working with super sculpting and oil-based clay is that you have to, only your tools can touch the surface when handling. You can't even handle your project when you're working with it. And I've always wanted a material that I can hold and then work on at the same time. And then when I saw people, artists working with wax, my prayers have been answered. So I thought that was really interesting. But it's a give and take. But also it's a give and take relationship with these materials, of course, because you have to because it's a harder material, it makes it harder to work with. So you can't move the material around as easily as you could with oil-based clay or super sculpting. That's the takeaway from that's what you're sacrificing when you're working with this method. I can't think of, there's other things that that you're sacrificing to, but I can't think of it right now. So working with making airbrush tattoos. You use stencils, like pre-designed designs that you can create working with stencils when doing that kind of work. Sometimes people come up and then they show at the event that I was at. Clients will come up and who are interested in getting a airbrush tattoo. Usually they come up with their phones and hold up a picture and ask if can you do this, and then my friend who owns this business, he usually tells them that we have designed stencils that we use, and we don't do like custom things. We can take different elements from those designs and combine them together. That's as custom as it gets, but and it's a good plan. It's a good way to do business, because once you go, the more custom that you get, the longer it's going to take to complete a tattoo, a airbrush tattoo, and making, like, we want to make money. The point is to be able to do art, to be creative and make money. Like it's still an art. It's still being creative. Even though that you're doing the same thing over and over again, using the same patterns, but the point is to do something quickly, to make money and do it fast. That's the point of doing it. I'm pretty sure that I would be able to do something completely custom. I was thinking about this last night, and I was thinking, like, what if I can use what if I can, like, I was thinking it's too bad that we can't make a stencil on the fly. Maybe there's a way to do that. Maybe there's a way to use like artist tape, masking tape, and then set it up, like make a sheet and then draw it out, like on some kind of cutting board, and then draw out a design with a pencil or a pen or something, and then get an X-Acto blade and just cut it out. Like, somebody came up to us and they had a a necklace, a wooden. It was a little. It looked like a fish hook, kind of like a Moana fish hook. I don't know what it was called, but it was wood, and it was a specific shape, and he wanted to see if we can do something like that. And of course, my friend said no, and I was thinking, oh, too bad that we can't like do something real quick. I was thinking maybe, get strips of masking tape, lay them side by side so they overlap each other, create a sheet, and then quickly draw out the shape of that fishhook shape, and then cut out the negative space, and then just use that as a temporary stencil. I might experiment with that, see how that goes. I don't know. I'll bring it up to my friend, see how he likes it. Let's see. So it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I want to do more of those events. I mostly did some basic designs. I did one complex one. It came out pretty good. It came out decent. So the more that I do it, hopefully I can become more useful. So when people were coming up, a lot of people they were asking if we do real tattoos, or they thought that we were actual tattoo artists, but we're not. And I think, I don't know how people feel, like people who are hardcore tattoo people. I don't know what they, especially real tattoo artists. I don't know if any of them came in and saw what we were doing and were, probably in their mind scoffed at what we were doing. I don't know. Maybe. Airbrush tattoos are of course temporary, which is good. Maybe not a lot of people are interested in having something permanent on their body. I don't know. I mean, if you're a tattoo person and you're watching my video, maybe you can give your perspective on what you think about how you feel about fake tattoos as opposed to real tattoos. I'd like to hear your opinion about that. So, leave a comment below. At one point, I wanted to be a tattoo artist a long time ago. Actually, a few years back ago, I was thinking about it. But there was a couple things that held me back from it. I actually tried doing a tattoo, not a full-blown one, but my friend invited me to go to this guy's tattoo parlor because my friend wanted to get a tattoo, or he wanted to have work done on it or something like that. I can't exactly remember. But we went to the tattoo shop. I don't think I ever been inside of a tattoo shop before. And my friend, he was boasting about my abilities as an artist, and I was like, it was kind of uncomfortable, but and he wanted me to work on his tattoo, and I never held a tattoo gun before in my entire life. It was quite different. it was intimidating, of course. I was like in front of a real tattoo artist, and I was like in front of my friend, and then I had to perform, and then I held the gun in my hand, and it was doing its thing, and it was vibrating. I never done art with a thing that vibrated before. I didn't know tattoo guns vibrated, and it was also awkward to hold because it wasn't like a paintbrush or a pencil. It was this thick thing, and it wasn't very ergonomic to what I was used to, and also working on skin, because he told me to like press down on the skin and then make it stretch out with my hand, and then I can work on it. So with a piece of paper, you have the freedom to turn it around in different angles, but you don't have the same freedom as you do with somebody's arm or body. So it made it a lot difficult, and I only did one line, and the tattoo artist was like looking at it, and I guess he kind of he was like he wasn't too judgmental, but I did the best that I could. It's like it was hard. It was hard. And that was one reason. The other reason, one reason why I didn't get into it, and another reason what I thought was weird was that I was told in order for me to be a tattoo artist that I had to have tattoos, and I don't like to be told what to do. It's my body, it's my rules. So, I didn't like that idea. I would never get a tattoo on my body. It's not because I don't think that I'm too, it's not because I think I'm too good for tattoos. I don't know if people have, that assumption when I say things like that. I think I don't like to be pegged down to be like everybody else. I think that's what it is. If it's something that if I ever decide to get a tattoo, it's gonna have to be something significant, something important. And I can't think of. I've tried thinking about it, and I can't really think of anything. I used to have this joke whenever I would talk to somebody about tattoos. I would say that if I were to get a tattoo, I would get a horizontal line across my butt cheeks so I can make a plus sign. But of course, I was just joking. So it was hard. It was intimidating. I didn't feel like spending money on getting tattoo guns or a tattoo gun, and then there was, and I didn't want to experiment on my body. There are practice skins that you can use made out of pig skin, and I think there's a synthetic skin that you can get. I was doing some shopping on that when I was thinking about doing it. But people are really into tattoos. A few years back, the demand for tattoos exploded for some reason. I have an appreciation for art, so of course I'm going to have an appreciation for tattoos, just not on my body. So So when you're doing something new, you're not going to be good at it. When I tried to do a tattoo on my friend's on my friend, it was hard. But of course, anything new, it's like learning how to draw all over again. That's what it felt like. So you have to compensate for it. There's, like with anything else, you have to practice. And of course, I knew that I would have to practice doing tattoos if I ever wanted to do it. And I practiced how to do airbrush tattoos. It had its own challenges. I wasn't great at it when I didn't like jump into it and be great at it from the very start. I knew that I was going to mess up, and which I did. So, there's other things that, like with wax, sculpting with wax. It was like I had to relearn how to sculpt again. And with working with a digital, with my my drawing tablet, I had to learn how to draw again. But it was with a different tool. It's not as, I think that if I had a Cintiq or one of those tablets with a screen on it, it probably would have been easier. But I have to I've drawn with a mouse before. It was hard. With a drawing tablet, you have to hold the tip like just barely above the surface so that it can track the movements. If you hold it too far from the tablet, it won't track, and then you have to put the tip closer. I think that was the hardest thing, and also you had to if you never used a mouse before, I guess it would be a lot more difficult, because you have to translate what your movements into a different area, into a different perspective. So it's a lot. There was some challenges in translating movements. You can move the mouse in a general area, and the cursor will go in that general area. So there's not a lot of finesse. But with drawing, it's like you have to have a lot of control to get a specific, consistent line. So that makes it a challenge. And also, you can't rotate. You can put your fingers, your thumb and index finger, and rotate the canvas, which is kind of neat, but it's hard. It doesn't respond. My tablet's kind of old, so it doesn't respond perfectly that well. But I was able to do it because I stuck with it. And I think that it's in some ways easier to draw with digitally than with pencil and paper. And because it's an infinite amount of paper, infinite amount of pencil, pen, whatever you call it, medium. That never, you don't have to worry about getting new sketch pads or paper or whatever. That's the beauty, and then you can erase um, very cleanly with it. If you erase on paper, it leaves like little. There's just stuff that you just can't erase, you know. So that's the beauty about it. With working digitally, also, but sculpting with wax, I'm still trying to get a hang of that. It's hard. I've been working on this project for way too long, and I'm having a bit of. The more that I learn, the more that I look for more information, the easier it gets. And a lot of information isn't free, so I have to do the best that I can. But anyway, this video is about to end, so I'm going to end it right here. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like if you liked the video and leave a comment in the comment section, and I will speak to you